Yes, today I want to share with you about what the Bible says about selling. So if you are somebody who is into sales and you would want to know what the Bible says about what you are doing or your trade, this video is for you. Or if you are somebody who just want to know what the Bible says, whether you are in sales or not, it's also good for you to listen to this video today. Then you might be somebody who is not into sales and want to know what the Bible says about those that are into sales. This video is also good for you. Or you may be somebody who doesn't care what the Bible says. You just do what you want to do. This video may also help you. Well, my name is Mcherwa and I help organizations and individuals develop their selling skills and get more revenue in the process. So let's delve into the subject. I want to share with you what the Bible says about selling, about those people that are into sales, and what it says about those that are not into sales. And then we're going to look at strongholds. There is a verse which says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. And it goes on to talk about casting down imaginations. We finish with that. So I think if we manage to take it that way, it might be able to help us get to where we want to get to. So let's start now. What does the Bible say about selling and sales? What is selling? Basically, selling is the concept of you having your product and you exchange your product for cash or for a certain benefit. But mostly in our modern day today, we are just looking at money most of the times. So you exchange your services for money. And these days, because of technology, we now have people that are called content creators. They just create content and they get paid for it. Then we have people that provide services like myself. I do consulting, I offer training services, I facilitate workshops, and I get paid for that. Then we've got people who produce goods, like they produce food, they produce bread, they produce motor vehicles, they produce aeroplanes. All these people, they produce goods and they sell those goods for a benefit. So what does the Bible say about all that? And what does it say about those that are not into all that? I think it would be nice if we start by reading what the Bible says, and then we're gonna delve deeper to see what that implies. Because most of the things that are in the Bible, whether they are stories or they are parables, they are meant to have a meaning. And at school we're told that a parable is an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. So the essence is in finding what the meaning is and not just getting the story. So let's look at Proverbs, all right? Proverbs 11, verse 26. Proverbs 11, verse 26 says, "He that withholdeth corn, the people shall curse him, but blessing shall be upon the head of him that selleth it." All right? So somebody who has got corn, and in this sense, corn is maize. And maize is a staple food in most, especially in our African countries. Most of our staple food is shima, sadza, pap. So if you've got that, which is what a lot of people need for their survival, you've got corn, you have it, and you withhold it, you'll be cursed, and people will curse you. But if you've got that which people need, and then you sell it to them, you'll be blessed. Can you imagine that verse is in the Bible? I was shocked when I came across that. So the Bible cannot go ahead and say, if you've got corn, if you've got sugar, if you've got water, if you've got services, if you've got wisdom, if you've got knowledge, if you've got a car, it can't all go on to say that. But what it basically means is, if you've got any good thing that people need and you hold it yourself, you don't sell it, you are cursed. You are supposed to sell it to them. Now, I know how a lot of people say, no, you should not sell, you should give. You should give. Because giving has been taught and preached in many churches and many places. But selling has not been taught. It's only giving that has been taught. But selling has not been taught. That's why a lot of Africans have excelled in the spiritual aspects, in spiritual issues, but they have not excelled in business. They have not excelled in making money, making revenues. Why? Because they have been taught about giving, and not about selling. So we have a story that can back this up from 2 Kings. Let's just quickly go into that one. In 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7, we hear the story of a widow whose husband died, and the husband was a prophet. She went and cried to the prophet Elisha and said, "Look, your servant, my husband, has died, and is a man who feared God. And now the debtors are coming, they want to take my sons." because of the debts that he left. So when you look at this prophet, he's somebody who feared God, but he didn't fear debts. He didn't fear borrowing. So he feared God, but he didn't fear borrowing. And if you're that kind of a person who fears God, but you don't fear borrowing, you are likely going to leave debts for your children and your children's children. So you're going to leave some financial burdens to them. Yes, you fear God, but you don't fear borrowing. Why? Because he feared God, but he didn't apply the principles of God. So the widow went to the prophet Elisha and cried about her situation. And the prophet said, "What do you have in your house?" And he said, "I have nothing, just some little oil." And the prophet said, "No, we'll start from there. Whatever you have is where we start from." So he said, "Go and borrow some vessels. Borrow not a few." And I remember listening to Dr. Mensa Otabil, he was saying, go borrow vessels. The aspect of borrowing vessels is to get what you don't have. So in this case, this lady lacked the resources to contain her product. So what did she have to do? She had to go and borrow from those that had. So Dr. Mensa Otabil was saying the aspect of borrowing vessels is basically an aspect of getting the knowledge that you don't have. So you may look at yourself and realize that you want to deal in a certain area, but you don't have the expertise. Go and borrow the expertise. Sometimes you go to work in an organization. You are not going there just for the salary. You are going there to get the expertise. And when you've gained the expertise, you can then leave and start applying what you have learned. You go to school, you go to college. What are you going there for? You are going there to borrow vessels. You are going to borrow the expertise that you are then going to use in your own business. So the prophet gave you a formula and said, go and borrow vessels. Borrow not a few. So when you are getting knowledge, do not get scanty knowledge. Go and borrow the best information that you get and apply. And then after she had borrowed, she went back to the man of God. And the man of God now gives her a formula. He says, when you get it, come back and shut the door. Close the door, you and your children, close the door, right? So that people will not see how you are doing your things, okay? So that you contain your trade secrets. Go and close the door with your family. And then go and fill the jugs with oil. And after you have filled with oil, go and sell that oil so that you can pay your debts and live on the rest. Some people may then think, why didn't Elisha just pray for God to rain money and give to this widow? Or why didn't he start a GoFundMe for this lady to pay her debts? But imagine now, if you had contributed for this lady to pay her debts, and that money comes in abundance, more people than imagined respond to the call to help her, because she's now living on the rest. You see her with a Rolls Royce, you don't even have a car. How would you feel? So this is money that she has not earned. And it's not a blessing to have money that you haven't earned. It's a blessing to have money that you have earned. And how did she earn the money? By selling. So if you see her driving a Range Rover and you know that you met her last week selling her oil, you will not have a problem with that. So the aspect of selling is something that God intends for men to do. So now this brings us to our question. If you are not selling, you are not doing God a favor. Neither are you doing yourself a favor. So for me, I want to believe Elisha was giving this lady a formula to say, okay, now this is where you have to start from. You are going to sell this oil and pay your debts and live on the rest. And that rest of the oil is what you continue selling, and now you are now already in the oil business. So you go and buy more oil, you sell. The only difference is that the first lot you did not use capital to buy it. But now that you've got capital, you need to go and buy and continue selling. So this is where I was saying a lot of people have been misinformed about giving. They want to start by giving before they have sold. But the right order of things is that you go and sell. And after you have sold, then you make profit. And from the profit, you start giving. Because if you start by giving, you won't have the means to go again and get the product to sell. Now, let's move on. In the book of Luke chapter 19, it talks about a nobleman who went to a faraway country And he went there to obtain for himself a kingdom. But before he went, he called his 10 servants and he gave them talents, each one a talent. And he said, occupy until I come back, or make use of this until I come back. And when he came back, after having obtained a kingdom, he went to the first servant, and the first servant said, the talent that you have given me, I've multiplied it by 10, and now here are your 10 talents. The nobleman was excited, and he said, you are a faithful servant, go and be king over 10 cities. When he came back, he called all his servants so that he could see how much each man had made by trading. So they were set up to see what they are able to make by trading. Trading is business. Business is selling. So from what he was given, he was supposed to buy whatever he could buy to sell and then get profit. And buy again, sell, get profit. Buy again, sell, get profit. And then he made him lord over 10 cities. Another one came and said, I multiplied by 5, said, lord over 5 cities. Another one said, I hid it in a napkin. Because I know you are an austere man, you want to reap what you didn't sow. You see, other people's thinking. And that's the kind of thinking that a lot of people have. If you've got a talent, if you've got a gift that you are sitting on, you are not making use of that, you are as good as this servant. But when you read about him, we all laugh at him and we curse him. But how many talents have you been given? And you are sitting on them. You are not making anything by trading. So, what are we saying? If you are not selling, you have something of value that you already have. It can be a gift. Like I was talking about content creators. You may be somebody with the capacity to create content. You may be somebody with services that you can offer. You are somebody who can be able to buy certain products from a certain faraway place and offer to the people that are around you. And it can benefit them, but you are not doing it. Because you think when you do that, you are going against the Bible. At least if you could get that and help by giving people for free. But that's not the order of things. You gain by trading. And from what you have gained by trading, you give away. So money has to be earned. If you have not earned it, you will not keep it. Now, let's look at strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10 verse 4 to 5. I want to conclude now. It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So, when we hear about strongholds, most of the times we think of demonic powers, demonic giants that we need to fight. Of course, that is its own place. But the strongholds that are most effective in people, that's why the Bible is saying, casting down imaginations, bringing into captivity every high thought, right? Because the strongholds that we have that impede us from doing good or doing what we have to do are thoughts and imaginations that we have been given. They have been passed over to us by those ahead of us. It could be our parents. So what makes these strongholds? These are ideas, these are thoughts that we guard against them jealously. Why? Because we feel that if we dispose of them, we are also rejecting the people that have inculcated those thoughts into our minds. So we cannot reject them because we associate them with the thoughts and ideas. So we hold on to them. That's why we want to defend those ideas at any cost. That's why you'll see, when you decided to watch this video, having been attracted by the title which says, what does the Bible say about selling? You were watching with the idea that whatever I'm going to share should be there to reinforce your beliefs. If I've just gone against your beliefs, you're likely to stop the video and watch something else.
Hey, stop the video!
Because I'm going against your beliefs. But if I am going along with what you already believe, you say, you're selling the truth. That is the truth. Why? Because I'm supporting something that you have already fortified. So the strongholds are extremely difficult to deal with. Why? Because we are the ones that protect them. So any new idea that may go against them, we are quick to reject it. But somewhere, somehow, if that idea finds a way to go through and you analyze it and you realize This is the truth. You reject that old idea and your thinking is transformed. You have beaten a stronghold. That's why you see even the walls of Jericho, they were a stronghold. But how did people deal with the strongholds? They had to go around for 7 days, quiet, not saying anything, just thinking. Okay, so we may interpret them, but that one is subject to interpretation. But we may say that they have just been going around in silence, just meditating about the new thoughts, about the new ways of doing things, about the idea of meditation. So they were just going in silence, meditating, switching their minds until the last time now they had to shout, they had to say something. So that's the same way that we deal with strongholds. We have to be quiet. We have to introspect. We have to give it a thought. We have to sit down. We have to introspect. And when we do that, we come up with the truth. And when the truth comes, it's the truth that brings down imaginations. It's the truth that brings down strongholds. So as long as we keep fortifying the strongholds by not opening our minds to new ideas, to new ways of thinking, we'll remain bound. So in a nutshell, what have I been trying to say? I've been trying to say that selling is an act of God. Here I just gave you 3 examples, right? But there are many examples in the Bible. There are many parables that Jesus had been giving about sales and selling. And all those were coming to the point that you have to sell. That's why people are given talents. Even right now in our world today, every day, there are people that are being born with talents. Some are sports people, others are in music industry, others are in entertainment, comedy, all those aspects. Those people have got corn. So what is corn that you have to sell to people? Some people are in entertainment, comedy. There are people that are going through depression and they just need someone to tickle them, to make them laugh. And when a comedian comes along their way and they make them laugh, they are releasing the tension, they are relieving themselves of the stress, and they are actually living a longer life because of the comedian. So this person has brought in corn that has helped relieve this person of the stress that they've been going through. So whatever field you are in, whatever field that you can help with, please make sure that you are selling your corn. If you hold on to your corn and not sell it, you are actually sinning, you are committing a sin. Reinhard Bonnke used to say that what is sin? Sin means missing the mark. So if you have been given a gift and you are not using it, you are not selling it, you are actually missing the mark and you are sinning. You are doing the world no favor. You are doing the world no good. It's your responsibility to make sure that you go and sell. I hope this has helped you and opened your mind to the fact that you have to sell. And where do you start from? I would encourage you to watch the video that I have done, which says selling is a 3-step process. And it can give you a starting point of understanding how you can start the process of sales. Until we talk again in the next video, keep developing your sales skills.